All right, welcome back with another quick little news of the day video here for you guys. And don't worry, no spoilers, but TI11 has come to an end, which means it's time to get into one of the most exciting and chaotic times of the year, roster shuffling time. And I'm going to be going over a few things that have happened over the past month or so, just kind of catching you guys up on some stuff in case you've missed it. If I missed anything that happened in that time frame, feel free to let me know in the description down below. Sources for everything here linked in the description as per usual, as well as our Discord. Feel free to join that. And over the next few weeks, I will be keeping you guys up to date with all sorts of roster shuffling, just as I did last year. So if you don't want to miss that, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. So let's get into it. And again, some of this news is going to be pretty old, but as we get closer and closer to the bottom, it starts becoming more and more recent where we have some stuff that just happened today. So first little bit of news, Nikobaby had announced that he will not be coming back to Pro Dota. By the sounds of it, it sounds like it might not be ever that he comes back to the pro scene, or at least it'll be a very, very long time, which is a true shame. I know a lot of people like to joke on him a lot, especially since he hasn't really been on a team that has performed all that well in quite a long time. But I do think he's still a very talented player, and it is kind of a shame that we're not going to be seeing him coming back to the pro scene for, again, at least a very long time. As for Alliance, again, they will be having to do quite the rebuild, and we'll see how they come back in the following DPC season. They will be starting off in the lower division in Western Europe. Next little bit of news, again, BTS, Beyond the Summit, big tournament organizer that has been around the Dota 2 scene for a very, very long time, is reportedly not going to be producing a DPC season in the upcoming a DPC tour in the upcoming season. And that's not because they didn't want to, but rather they just were not signed by Valve, which is a real shame because, again, this is another one of those organizations that has been around forever that is just kind of getting ignored, and it doesn't seem like there's any big reason. I mean, BTS has always been one of the most steady and reliable organizers, and so just to see them get passed up on like this is pretty shitty. I know this was on Sunsfan and Cinderen's podcast when it was announced, so you can check that out, link in the description. I'm sure there's more news to come regarding this. But for now, that's where we're going to be leaving it, which is quite unfortunate. Moving now into some player roster shuffling, we have Navi and Solo who are parting ways. Solo, of course, having been around the DPC numerous times. We'll see if maybe he ends up switching regions, but I find that pretty unlikely. We'll see where he ends up. And Navi looking to fill that spot and get themselves back up to the top of their game. They had a pretty decent season this past year. Didn't quite make it to TI, but we're almost there. We then have Leslao, who was terminated from Soniqs because of that whole drama that was going on. A pretty stupid way to get kicked from your team. We've had quite a few of those this year. I think this one was probably the least malicious, but it was still really stupid. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. So we'll see if Leslao ends up getting picked up by another team. Teams typically don't have a lot of morals when it comes to that stuff, hence why Pure was able to just join a new team and participate at TI after what he did. But regardless, we'll see what they do. And for Soniqs, we'll see if they end up filling that void and who it's going to be. Very excited to see that. Next up, we have Virtus.Pro and Ramzes who are parting ways. His contract ended with the team, and it seemed as though neither player or the org wished to renew it, and so they just parted ways. So Ramzes, not his first time with Virtus.Pro, and possibly not even his last time with Virtus.Pro, but for now, they will be parting ways, and Ramzes is going to be looking for a new team for this upcoming season, just like SammyBoy, who has just left WildCard Gaming. They, of course, participated in the Last Chance qualifiers, didn't quite make it, but maybe surprised a few people along the way. That has been WildCard's MO throughout the past year, although even though they've surprised people, they never really made it to that next level. They never made it to any sort of LAN, unless you include the regional qualifiers. But, the regional finals that we had in Tour 1. But regardless, he is off of that team, and he's going to be looking for a new team. We'll see where he ends up, and we'll see which position he ends up on. Initially, he used to be a carry player. He played position 5 on WildCard. He looked pretty damn good doing so. From what I can tell, he was a big part of the drafting behind that team, which was pretty impressive. So we'll see where this takes him in this upcoming year. Next up, let's get to T1 and their absolute purge of their roster, kicking every single member of the roster, including their coach, except for Ana and Thompson, which is pretty funny because, of course, it's Ana and Thompson that are the only two left. So my guess is that the org is going to be trying to build a new roster around these players. They clearly see the team as... see these two players, Ana and Thompson, as being worthy of being built around. They're not washed by any means. They clearly played quite well. And so we'll see where T1 ends up with this. They are still a top team in Southeast Asia. They are still in the upper division. And so we'll see who they're able to attract with players like Ana and Thompson on their roster. Very, very excited to see which direction T1 ends up going from here. Next up, into some more recent news, this one coming out from South America. And there's a lot of gossip about what might be going on in South America, but nothing has been confirmed yet other than these two things here. And that is that, first of all, DarkMago has left Thunder Awaken. That's pretty big news considering how well he played this year at TI and just in general how well Thunder Awaken did. They probably didn't make it as far as they were hoping, but top 6 is still pretty damn solid for a South American team. We then also have Wisper, who has left Beastcoast, which was very surprising to hear, I guess, especially since these guys have been together for a very, very long time, at least 3 years. They were playing together back at TI9 under Infamous. Wisper also has been one of the, if not the best player on this team throughout that whole time, the most consistent, where it always felt like if Wisper was popping off in a game, the game was won. But if Wisper was shut down, the game was more than likely lost. So Wisper, a huge asset, huge part of this team, is no longer going to be a part of Beastcoast, and we'll see what Beastcoast does from here. There have been a lot of rumors and rumblings that Evil Geniuses might be poaching players from the Beastcoast roster, but again, not confirmed. There have also been rumors that Thunder Awaken and Beastcoast are going to do a sort of merging of their rosters where they take players from each, mix them together. Again, unconfirmed, but a lot of rumors going around right now, and so I think this is going to be a really, really fun thing to keep an eye on over the next few weeks before we get into the next season, which has yet to be announced. I don't think we have any dates for the next season, which is a little concerning, but we do have a pretty solid source telling us that TI12 will likely end up back in Seattle, back in the United States. This is yet to be confirmed. Of course, we didn't even know where TI11 was going to be until just a few months beforehand, so it's possible that that it's a few months still before we get that confirmation. But again, strong sources lead to it going back to Seattle, which is a little concerning because typically TI was always held in August, but now that the new stadium has been built in Seattle, they're looking to go back there. If TI is still held in October, well, that arena is largely used by a hockey team that plays in Seattle now that didn't exist all the way back when TIs used to be held in Seattle. Not only that, but also TIs used to be held in August, where if they were still held in August, there isn't a hockey season going on. Whereas if you have TI in October, it might be a little harder to get that venue for a week straight when you have a team that could possibly be playing there 1 or 2 nights of that week. So it's going to be a little interesting to see what Valve does if they try and book that full week in October, if they're able to work it out with the league and the team itself, or if they're going to try moving TI back to August. That would be something pretty interesting. That would, of course, require a pretty condensed season, maybe just 2 tours like we had last year. But who knows? Overall, I'm just super, super excited. Again, if I missed any sort of roster shuffles, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'll include them in my future videos. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how excited you guys are for the roster shuffling madness, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.